GR IAS Academy.
100 days, 100 themes, one goal UPSC Prelims. Hello everyone, welcome back to Mission Surya. This program deals with current affairs completely from Prelims perspective. So let's get started. Today we are going to discuss about one of the most important themes for UPSC, that is species behavior. So every year one question comes from this section, and one year UPSC asked 3 questions from this section. So that's how much important the species behavior topic is. So species behavior can be classified into 5 major categories. The first one is migratory behavior. So animals travel from one place to another place in search of food, in search of better climatic conditions, in search of mates, right? So that is why we need to study about migratory behavior of different species. And then comes the feeding habits. Based on the food they eat, they can be classified as herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. So herbivores feed on grass, carnivores feed on animals, omnivores feed both on grass and animals. Communication. So animals, they communicate with other animals with the help of either sounds or signals or some movements. And then prey and predator relationships. So one has the capability of hunting and one should have capability to escape the predator. So hunting for predator, escape for prey. So both mechanisms are part of species behavior. And then come mating behavior, which is related to reproduction. So today we are going to discuss about the first behavior, migratory behavior of species. So there are different types of animal migration. The first one is latitudinal migration. So our animals move from north to south. For many reasons. One of the most important will be climate, better climatic conditions. The other one is reproduction purposes. So example is birds. They travel so many kilometers every year, either for reproduction purpose or for feeding purposes. Then comes the altitudinal migration. Every year the great migration happens. Animals move from one place to another place, from lowlands to mountains. So this is called altitudinal migration. And then is long distance ocean migration. Every year whales, sea turtles, they travel some thousands of kilometers in oceans. That is called long distance ocean migration. Example is whales and sea turtles. Vertical migration. So some marine animals reach to the top of the ocean surface for food purposes and then go back when it's done. This is called diel vertical migration. We will be discussing about this in a few moments. So just now we told one of the migration type is diel vertical migration. So what is diel vertical migration? In search of food, every day organisms move onto the top of the surface. They will feed on the plankton, they will feed on the food and then they will go back. So this is called diel vertical migration. So what they do? At night they will come to the surface to eat food and then they will go to deeper waters to avoid predators. Okay, so this is called diel vertical migration. So our examples are zooplankton, krill, jellyfish and small fish. Next comes our natal homing. This is one of the behavior followed by sea turtles and salmon. So what is this behavior? So these species, they return to the place where they have been born and give reproduction. So that is called natal homing. Okay, this is one of the behavior of species. And then comes anadromous migration. So usually some fish migrate from ocean to freshwater to give birth. That is, one of the example is salmon, and that is called anadromous migration. This is another type of migration, that is catadromous migration, wherein few species of fish migrate from freshwater to ocean to give birth. One example is eels. Okay. Okay. Just now we have studied that there are different types of migration. Okay, fine. What causes the species to move from one place to another place? There are certain drivers of the migration. So what are those? Seasonal temperature change. So whenever there is climatic change, usually it happens, right? Seasons change from winter to summer, summer to winter. So these are normal. So when the seasons change, they also move from one place to another place. So that is one reason for our migration. And then food availability. So usually predators go where the prey is available. So that is one of the driver of migration. Breeding requirements. Just now we have seen natal homing, anadromous migration, catadromous migration. This is one behavior of species where they return to birthplace for giving birth to the younger ones. So that is one reason. And then comes rainfall patterns. So usually herbivores do that because they have to feed on the grass. And then ocean currents. So we know there are warm ocean currents, there are cold ocean currents, and fish will be available more near warm ocean currents. So predators also will go there to feed on the fish. Usually they will be more food will be available at the meeting point of warm currents and cold currents. So predators will go there to feed on them. So this is also one of our reason of the migration. So example is the great migration of wild beast, which is rainfall driven. So they will move to Serengeti plains to Masai Mara region in East Africa. So that is one example of migration, and we will be discussing that in detail. So today our first topic is about humpback whales. Humpback whales. So these are marine mammals which travels some thousands of kilometers every year. Okay, and they are known for their superb songs and for astonishing breaching behavior and long seasonal migrations, which is usually because of the ocean currents and climate change. So we will be discussing about humpback whales today. So if you notice, this is the humpback whale migration map, where this indicates summer feeding grounds, all blue color ones, and green parts indicate winter breeding grounds, and red part indicates probable resident population. Okay, and this is called as breaching behavior of the humpback whale, and this gives us so much view, right? Okay. Our next topic is humpback whales migration pattern. So it is one of the longest migrations. They travel on thousands of kilometers every year, like around 8,000 kilometers. So from where to where they travel, just now we have seen they are traveling almost entire ocean for different reasons, right? So first reason is for feeding, and the second reason is for breeding. So these are major reasons for our humpback whales to travel. They travel between polar and temperate regions for feeding and warm tropical waters for breeding. So they depend on navigation cues. So what they use? They use Earth's magnetic field. They use it as a compass. We already know, right? Earth has magnetic north and magnetic south poles. So humpback whales can identify magnetic north of Earth and use it to migrate from one place to another. So using this is only possible by few animals, and one of them is our humpback whale. And they can also identify the movement of ocean currents, that is warm ocean current and cold ocean current, right? So they can identify the directions of the current and follow them whenever they needed for both feeding habits and mating habits, for breeding grounds for their calves. And then they also have this communication technology where they use sounds, and they have the memory of routes. So that much memory power they have to travel from one place to another place, and every year they does that, not one time, and they don't forget that they have super memory power in that. And then what is the reason for our migration? We already told, one is feeding and the other one is breeding. Okay, so they feed on krill and small fish, and they go to warmer tropical waters for their reproduction habits for their younger calves. Okay, and then what is their importance? They have exceptional navigational capabilities. They use Earth's magnetic field like compass. Who does that? We can't do that, right? So yeah, they have exceptional capability to travel using Earth's magnetic field. And to conserve whale population, it is very important to understand their behavior in terms of migration, in terms of feeding, in terms of mating. So every behavior gives us some idea how to conserve them. So that is the importance of understanding the species behavior of our whale. So what is the most important point for us to remember? They perform seasonal migrations, more than 8,000 kilometers they travel every year, so that is important. Then they reach tropical waters for breeding and calving. Fascinating. This is so fascinating. They travel 8,000 kilometers every year without forgetting. So much memory they have, right? Next topic is about green sea turtles. So these green sea turtles also have same capability of using Earth's magnetic field as compass, and so yeah, they are reptiles which are found in oceans, right? They also undergo long distance migration like our humpback whales for feeding and nesting beaches. We were discussing about natal homing, right? So that is related to our turtles. If you notice, this is our turtle. This is our green sea turtle, and this is our migration pattern of green sea turtle. So if you notice, it migrates for both food and breeding grounds. Okay, it uses magnetic compass, I mean our earth, for navigation purposes. So yeah, navigation mechanism of green sea turtles. So I already told you it uses Earth's magnetic field like a compass. So what is this is called geomagnetic navigation. So this feature of green sea turtles using Earth's magnetic field as compass to reach their destinations is called geomagnetic navigation. So how it works? So turtles can detect variations in Earth's magnetic field and the latitude and the direction. So that's how they travel from one place to another, and it is called geomagnetic navigation. So they use Earth like compass. Even, this is fascinating, even small hatchlings, we are just born, they can identify Earth's magnetic field as Q, and they'll remember this place where they have born, and then they'll come back to breed there itself. So that much capability is there for our green sea turtles. So this is called natal homing, and they travel thousands of kilometers between nesting beaches and feeding beaches. They eat at one place, they breed at one place. Usually females will return to the same place where they are born to lay eggs. We already discussed about natal homing, right? So this behavior is of green sea turtle. And then what is the importance of this? We study navigation capabilities of animals, okay? And then for understanding animal migration, we study about this green sea turtles migration, right? And next comes our indigo buntings. So indigo buntings is a bird which is found mainly in North America, right? So they use, this is our indigo buntings, okay? So they travel between North America and South America, and for North America it is for breeding, and for winter grounds it is Central or South America. Okay. We have seen that both humpback whales and green sea turtles were using Earth's magnetic field. So what does indigo buntings use? Indigo buntings use stars for its navigation purpose, and it is called celestial navigation. So this is also called as stellar navigation. And how it works? So usually when do we see stars? At night, right? So they travel at night, and they will notice the pattern of stars. Which pattern of stars? So they will identify North Star and how the pattern of stars surrounding North Stars changes. So scientists have identified whenever the pattern changes, the behavior of this indigo buntings also changes, how they move also changes. So that is how they identified that indigo buntings uses celestial navigation for travel. See, they travel at night and they use pattern of stars, and they will identify center using North Star as a reference point for direction. And experiments have shown that birds change their orientation when the pattern of stars change. Next, migration pattern. So, how they travel? They travel thousands of kilometers. They travel thousands of kilometers. Whenever seasons change, they travel. And at what time? They travel at night time. And why night time? That helps them to avoid predators. Usually, mostly predators will feed them on days, right? Some are there nocturnal animals which feed at night, but yeah, they mostly escape predators at night time and they conserve energy. Why? So obviously when it is daytime, heat, everything, heat affects, climate affects them. So they are able to conserve energy when they travel at night, and they use star patterns for traveling, which makes them easier for them to identify which direction they have to go. And why we learn about indigo bunting's behavior, about celestial navigation? It gives the understanding of celestial navigation used by our indigo buntings, and it will help us to understand the technology used by them. And then it will also help us to understand how they travel and what technology they use to travel from one place to another. So what we have to remember here? So it shows one of the extremely advanced navigation techniques, that is celestial navigation for the birds, animals, by using it as natural compass and migration at night. So it is nocturnal migration. Nocturnal means night. Animals which are active at night are called as nocturnal animals. Next comes our great migration. The great migration which occurs between Serengeti plains to Masai Mara region of Africa. So what animals travel from this place to this place? Wild beast and zebra, which are in Serengeti plains of East Africa to Masai Mara region. And this is one of the largest migration in the world. And every year they travel around 2,900 kilometers. And this is a massive migration where millions of wild beasts and zebras travel from one place to other place, that is Serengeti plains to Masai Mara region of East Africa. So yeah, this migration is between Serengeti plains to Masai Mara region. And what they use for navigation? They use seasonal rainfall patterns. So because of which they can determine where fresh grass is available and water sources is available. Using that they travel. So this is our great migration. We can see how many animals are participating in the great migration. So they use rainfall and vegetation, the growth of grass. So they use this growth of grass as a cue for their navigation, and they can remember the route of the travel, and this helps the social behavior of the herds, which are so many millions of animals travel from Serengeti plains to Masai Mara region. And what is the pattern of their migration? So during the rainfall they remain in Serengeti plains where they can feed on the grass, right? They can provide food for their younger ones. And then when the dry season approach, they move to Masai Mara region where they will be grass is available because of the rainfall pattern again. Okay, and this journey is cyclical, means it will repeat every year. And what is the importance of this? It is the largest land-based migration, and it is very important for us to identify that it maintains grassland ecosystems and predator-prey relationship. So this phenomenon serves for a tourism and the ecology of East Africa. So what do we have to remember here for the exam? Wild beast and zebras, they participate in great migration, which is around 800-mile journey, which occurs between Serengeti and Mara. And for what they go? For seasonal food. Okay, using rainfall pattern as navigation cue. So this is our revision. Our whales, sea turtles uses Earth's magnetic field, and whales also use ocean cues, and indigo buntings use celestial navigation, and wild beasts used rainfall and vegetation for their migration purpose. So this is other examples. Magnetic field navigation is used by sea turtles and whales, celestial for indigo buntings. Olfactory navigation is used by salmon. We didn't discuss this. Olfactory means smell organs, that is nose. So salmon uses smell to travel, and we'll discuss this in our next class. Landmark navigation. So elephants remember landmarks to travel from one place to another. It is called as landmark navigation. We will discuss about this also in our next class. Environmental cues like rainfall and grass vegetation available, that is used by wild beast. So conservation issues. Migration is threatened by habitat fragmentation. So what is habitat fragmentation? Habitat is nothing but a place to live, right? How they live. So if climate change is occurring, what happens? So many environment and forests degrade, which leads to the loss of habitat. So whenever habitat is lost, it's not available. So if food is not available at one place, how can they go and feed there? If proper environmental conditions are not available, how can they go and breed there? So yeah, habitat is important, climate is important. Pollution is affecting them very badly, and lightning is affecting birds. So we just have seen indigo buntings uses celestial navigation. If artificial lightning is there and pollution is there, how can they identify stars clearly? So it is also affecting them. See, example, sea turtle. Sea turtle, whenever hatchlings are born, usually they'll travel towards the ocean. But if artificial lights are there, they get distracted. They think that it is ocean, they'll go. So they are confused. So that is one reason. And then climate change. What happens? Usually proper seasons, they allow us to travel for seasonal migration. So if seasons are not changed accordingly, migration pattern also will change. It changes breeding cycles because of the climate change. Food will be not available properly for them, and species, they will change their nesting places, their breeding habits, their feeding habits, everything will change because of climate change. Example, bird migrations every year they travel thousands of kilometers for food habits and breeding habits. They will also change if climate change occurs. So that's all for today. We'll discuss about salmon and elephant in the next class. For more videos, please follow us on our YouTube channel, WhatsApp channel and Instagram channel. Thank you.